Hello students, so far we have read that Lamb is trying to give us a list of those infirmities, those weaknesses, those ill behavioral traits of the married people which he don't likes as a bachelor. The first thing which he has told us is about they are loving each other too much, not loving each other, but showing this love towards each other to the bachelors as if they have lost something. Now let's read further. Nothing is to me more tasteful than that entire complacency and satisfaction which beam in the countenances of a new married couple, in that of the lady particularly. It tells you that her lot is disposed of in this world, that you can have no hopes of her. It is true, I have none, nor wishes either, perhaps, but this is one of those truths which ought, as I said before, to be taken for granted, not expressed. Now he says, as he has talked this earlier, that there are some truths, there are some things which are explicit, which don't need to be told in words. They are just known, they are just taken for granted by each and everybody. But still, he says that these married people, they tell these things to be unmarried people. They just try to impress this upon us, upon our faces. So in that way he says that nothing is to me more distasteful than that entire complacency and satisfaction which beam in the countenance of a new married couple, in that of the lady particularly. Now he says that for me, the thing which is distasteful me, or the thing which I don't like, is that complacent look, that utterly satisfactory look in the countenance of the newly married couple, and especially that of the lady, in which they seem quite satisfied, quite complacent. Complacent means in totality, complete, the sense of completion, complacence in which they don't need anything, means they have it all with them. That kind of expression, he says, I don't like. How? It tells you that her lot is disposed of in this world, that you can have no hopes of her. He says that especially this thing in the expression of the lady I don't like. So that expression, what does it tells? It says that her lot is disposed of in this world. Now her lot, her destiny is decided now, and you don't have any hopes of her. And now you cannot hope anything for her, of her. It is true, I have none, nor wishes either, perhaps. He says, and yes, it is quite true that I don't have any hopes, and I don't even want to have any hopes of having her or of having any relationship with her either. But still, this is one of those truths which ought, as I said before, to be taken for granted, not expressed. But he says, still, this truth that now I don't have any scope about that lady, now the lot of that lady is reserved for her husband, all these things, these are a harsh truth, and this truth is quite explicit, and it should not be told. It is quite understood. The excessive airs which those people give themselves, founded on the ignorance of us unmarried people, would be more offensive if they were less irrational. And he says, the airs, the show of that love, of that complacency, of that satisfaction which they show to us unmarried people, is again a matter of complaint. That is also a thing which I don't like, because they make it as such a big show off, as if we married people are quite ignorant of those blisses of, or any of those enjoyments which they have. We will allow them to understand the mysteries belonging to their own craft better than we who have not had the happiness to be made free of their company. He said, yes, we allow them to understand those mysteries which belong to their craft, means to the married life. We allow them to enjoy them, to discover them, but their arrogance is not content within these limits. He says, we allow them that whenever they are in each other's company, they can enjoy themselves, they can love each other, they can uh, discover and develop those crafts which are needed for that married status. But he says, they are not content within these limits. How? If a single person presumes to offer his opinion in their presence, though upon the most indifferent subject, he is immediately silenced as an incompetent person. He says, we don't want to disturb them. We are quite happy if they enjoy their company, if they enjoy their married status, but he says simply they are still not content with this. They disturb us. That whenever we differ in an opinion with them, and even that opinion is quite indifferent to them, means it has nothing to do with that person in person, or in that status of married or unmarried, still he says we are silenced as an incompetent person. He gives an example now, that a young married lady of my acquaintance, who the burst of the jest was, had not changed her condition above a fortnight before, in a question on which I had the misfortune to differ from him respecting the properest mode of breeding oysters for the London market, had the assurance to ask with a sneer how such an old bachelor as I could pretend to know anything about such matters. Now he gives the example that how we bachelors are being silenced by these married people on the matters which are quite indifferent to them, which are quite indifferent to being married. For example, he says that a young married lady of my acquaintance, a married lady was there of my acquaintances, and the jest and the joke of was it that she has changed her condition just a fortnight before, means just 14 days ago she has got married, means she was not married for a long time, to have the experiences, to have the pleasures, to have the we can say those mastery of that married status, but still she had silenced me when I differed from her on a question. And what was the question? That what is the proper way of breeding oysters for the market of London? So now this question, he said, this has nothing to do with the married or with the bachelor person. This is a question which is related to animal husbandry, we can say, or which can be related to commerce, which cannot be related to business. But she just remarked with a sneer that how such an old bachelor as I could pretend to know anything about such matters. He says, how can you know about such matters, about animal breeding, because you are a bachelor? So this is what he says, that sometimes they even cross those limits. They are not contented with their own privacy, their own freedom, their own company. They even interfere in such matters and in such an insolent manner that they silence us as an incompetent person. As in this example, ये जो एग्जाम्पल वो दे रहा है उसमें वो क्या बता रहा है कि एक कोई मेरी परिचित लेडी जो कि कुछ ही दिनों पहले जिसने अपनी स्टेटस चेंज किया था, स्टेटस चेंज किया था मतलब अनमेरिड से मेरिड वाला जो स्टेटस था वो उसने अडोप्ट किया था जस्ट ए फोर्टनाइट बिफोर, एंड स्टिल ही साइलेंस्ड द ऑथर बाय सेइंग दिस, दैट ऑन दिस मैटर हाउ कुड यू से एनीथिंग. इस मामले में कि ओयस्टर मोती जो हैं उनका उत्पादन कैसे बढ़ाया जाए, उनको कैसे प्रॉपर तरीके से उनका उत्पादन किया जाए लंदन मार्केट के लिए, उस पे उसने कहा कि यू आर एन इनकम्पिटेंट पर्सन बिकॉज यू आर एन ओल्ड बैचलर. But what I have spoken of hitherto is nothing to the airs which these creatures give themselves when they come, as they generally do, to have children. And he says, and the airs which I have been talking about, they go to the extreme level when they gave birth to the children. As they generally do, when I consider how little of a rarity children are, that every street and blind alley swarms with them. And now he says that to have children, to give birth to children, is not a rare thing. It's just such a common thing that all the streets and all the alleys are swarmed with children. That the poorest people commonly have them in the most abundance. कि जो गरीब लोग होते हैं उनके बच्चे उतनी ज़्यादा संख्या में और होते हैं. Means this is not a privileged thing to the rich only. That there are few marriages that are not blessed with at least one of these bargains. और वो करे there are only one or two marriages, means a very rare number of people are those married couples are those who don't have children. And how often they turn out ill and defeat the fond hopes of their parents. And he says many of the children, they fall ill and they die, and they just foil the hopes of their parents. Means what he wants to say is this, that children is not a much thing to be proud of, to be make a show of, and taking to vicious courses which end in poverty, disgrace, the gallows and others. और कई बार बच्चे जो होते हैं वो एक गलत रास्ता अपना लेते हैं, और उससे क्या होता है, दे एंड अप इन पॉवर्टी, या तो गरीबी, डिस्ग्रेस, बेइज्जती होती है, शर्मिंदगी महसूस होती है, एंड इवन द गैलोज, इवन दे आर बीइंग एम्प्रिजन्ड एंड दे आर हैंग्ड टिल डेथ. I cannot for my life tell what cause for pride there can possibly be in having them. और वो कह रहा है, even if I spend the whole of my life in thinking this thing, I cannot tell that what pride is there in having children. बच्चे अगर आपके हैं, आप बच्चों के पेरेंट्स हैं, तो इसमें गर्व करने लायक क्या है, ये मैं शायद अपनी पूरी जिंदगी नहीं बता पाऊंगा, नहीं सोच पाऊंगा. If they were young phoenixes indeed that were born but one in a year. Now he says, even if those children were, if they are phoenixes, phoenix is a magical bird, and about which it is said that it borns once in 100 years. 100 सालों में एक phoenix जो bird जो है वो पैदा होता है, and after the expiry of 100 years it burns itself, ये अपने आप को जला लेता है, and it again revives from those ashes, और उसी राख से फिर से जिंदा होता है. ऐसी एक ये मतलब पौराणिक कथा है. तो वो कह रहा है कि इवन इफ दे आर फिनिक्सेस एंड दे आर बोर्न बट वन इन ईयर, 100 की तो छोड़ो, अगर साल में एक भी पैदा हो, देयर माइट बी प्रीटेक्स्ट, तब तो शायद कोई बहाना है कि यस वी आर प्राउड टू हैव ए चाइल्ड. बट व्हेन दे आर सो कॉमन, लेकिन जब वो इतने कॉमन हैं बच्चे, देन इट जस्ट I do not advert to the insolent merit which they assume with their husbands on these occasions. और वो कह रहा है, मैं उस insolent, वो जो ढीठतापूर्ण बर्ताव जो करते हैं, ढीठतापूर्ण श्रेय जो वो अपने हस्बैंड को प्रदान करती हैं ऐसे ओकेजन्स पे, उसको तो मैं मतलब बात ही नहीं करूँगा. लेट देम लुक टू दैट, ये उनकी प्रॉब्लम है, they can take care of it. But why we who are not their natural born subjects should be expected to bring our spices, myrrh and incense, our tribute and homage of admiration, I do not see. वो कह रहा है कि if she praises her husband, that is quite good. If she admires him, that is quite good. But he says that why we who are not their born subjects, हम जो कि उनकी पैदा की हुई संतान नहीं है, हम उनकी प्रजा नहीं है, हम स्पाइसेस, मिर, इंसेंस, मतलब ये जो भेंट की चीज़ें हैं उनके बारे में कह रहा है वो, ये लेके हमारी ट्रिब्यूट और होमेज उनको क्यों प्रस्तुत करें. आई डो नॉट सी एनी रीजन इट, इसमें मुझे कोई रीजन समझ नहीं आता है. सो दैट इज इट. थैंक यू.